Well, number 7 of Workington, Arnold Walker, has been elected as the player of the match, and there he is, a lively man. He wants, not good me giving him advice, I was going to say he wants to stick, but of course want to get as much yardage as possible. And goal. 1 point, drop goal. Wigan 13, Workington 16. Let's have a look at that. There's the man who did it, working for position, and it's plenty of room. He had one charge down before, and he went up, and in it went. He got plenty of height, so 16 points to 13.
Been great, honestly. When I didn't want to do it, as I said before, but now it's all over. And like I said, I've been fetched up from dead again. People are coming up to us in Kells Rugby League Club. When's it out, and all that. And people in streets. I just feel famous again, honestly. I do, and I've a lot to thank this person, the writer, that's sitting with us now. He's done an absolute professional, marvellous job on it.
Lindsay, but the game has lost some others recently as well. Glyn Shaw, Les Dill, Boxer Walker, 3 fine players, all sadly passed away in recent times. And I'm sure Wallace would have hoped that their memories would have been contained in that 20 seconds of applause as well.
Drop goals, I think we all know it was a bit of a drop goal king. Played 18 times for Cumberland, 8 tries, 12 goals, no drop goals. What's all that about? Never mind. Great Britain caps, England caps, and in Open Rugby League magazine paper voted the world's best scrum half, so that's literally a sign of the player that graced our turf. But Billy, we all know how good he was on the pitch. You just tell us just a little bit in your words what you all know, Marra.
I'll be honest, I'm still in shock about last night. No, it's unbelievable. When I first met him, we used to go away matches, and I used to smoke next to backside. And Boxer and Derek McMillan were on backside. So Derek used to pass me a cigarette that way, and I used to pass to that. Then I used to say, Boxer, this went on for ages, man. I said, Boxer, I've never said this smoke. He said, I don't. I said, so he's taking two and giving Derek on there. I said, no, really, so. No, but drink, no, he's a great man, mate. Some players, you play with all your life, and you love them, man. And he was one, top man. You know, we lost one too lately, Harry Beverley, Les Gurley. You know, they're all up there, among the best there. You could rely on them. If you used to go in and tackle 19 stone for-ups, and they bother to like, just click on his arm, and one leg will come out from the other end. Yeah, running down pitch on the backs. Oh, it was a little gem, like.
And you liked a little scrap every now and then, didn't you, Billy?
Oh, yes. Before I signed up, I said Downs down there. There was him and Murphy, Alex Murphy. And they both sent off to go on, like 2 typewriters going. I knew saying out down as fast. Hey, it's unbelievable. And as Graham says, it's all your support that the club needs. A lot of old faces here, Ben Nations I was playing. And we're on sticks still. No, but we do need you more now. And they've been friends with her for a long time. She's sent us messages and that. Just all the best, lads. Yeah.
What a turnout. We knew it with these people here, didn't we? So many familiar faces. Today we're one big family, we're part of Boxer's family, a rugby league family. You can almost smell the wintergreen here, can't you? There's so many people involved in rugby. You can almost feel it. I'm going to try and bring it back to life for you. I'm going to bring it back to life in your hearts and minds. I'm going to try and tell you a few stories about the things he did in his life, why he was just such a one-off, on and off the field. He had this magic inside him, he had an aura inside him, and we all loved him. The family had been sent a poem by Gary McKeating. Gary is a talented Cumbrian photographer, lifelong town fan, lifelong Boxer fan, and so I'll read it to you now. I'm sorry about my posh barrel accent, Gary. I didn't want to go, but it was time and the final hooter blew. And now I'm the breeze that rustles the grass on Derwent Park. I'm a whisper on the pit field as I look out across my sea. I am a flash of blonde and blue and white, the distant roar of laughter in the club at night. Now I am was instead of is. So please remember me fondly and smile. I lived the life of 20 men and felt the love of strangers and family alike. I came into the world with nothing, but I leave as a man that is rich in memories and friendships and a family so loved. I can still hear them cry that I walk on water as my team lifts me high on strong Cumberland shoulders. As I look one final time to the mountain steps, they are saying, Good night, boxer, our little marra, and I feel like the king of kings. Beautiful words, thank you, Gary. And he was a king, wasn't he? Where do I start? How about a story? I've got lots of stories. So he looks over. What did you say, boxer? He puts his arms in the air and he says, we're in trouble here, lads. He's deaf as well as blind. So nicknames, he had a few nicknames, didn't he? Perhaps better not tell you what they all were. My favourite nickname is one he was called by two very special people. Saul Roper needs no introduction, of course. Cumberland mentioned himself. And Harry Whittaker, who played both the captain and scrum half and signed for Workington. Their nickname was George Best. And there's never been a nickname more appropriate, has there? Because you think of the similarities. So George Best was one of the greatest players in the world. He played off the cuff, he didn't know what he was going to do, he would die for his teammates. It was tough. The thing that united them, they're all boxer qualities, aren't they? And did you do one or two funny, naughty things occasionally? It's a little bit of a parallel there. Anyway, the reason I like that nickname so much is because everybody loved George Best, everybody, and everybody loved Boxer. That's a similarities I see. So he signed for Workington Town when he was 19 years old in 1971 in a Maryport car park in Tom Mitchell's 18-foot long Ford Mustang. With him was Ike Southwood. He was there to remind Arnold, in case he was going to change his mind, that that's the sort of person he's going to be rubbing shoulders with. Ike, 374 tries in his career, and one of the nicest, kindest men you could ever meet. So in 1971, he got £750. To give you an idea of what that was, you could buy a house in South Row for £8,000. So our little Ireland had £750. I said to him, what do you do with the money? Oh, he said, I bought my father some tobacco and a suit. I got my mother a washing machine and a 3-piece suite. And I bought myself a sheepdog called Kim. I said, well, we've still got a few £100 left. What happened to that? Don't know, I just went. I have no explanation for it. You can just picture him because he was always the first to get the beer in, wasn't he? Always the first at the bar. Another amazing quality. He was. So there's some things I'm going to tell you the younger people here. You might think when we say what a great player he was. I'm going to go into that in a minute. He was 5'6" and 10.5 stone, 1 metre 65 and 65 kilograms. Means nothing to me, that. On the field, he was a giant, an absolute giant. Let's just quickly look at his playing career. In 1980, he was voted the best scrum half in the world by Open Rugby, a magazine edited by our own company, Harry Edgar. And Harry was a great help with the book, by the way, along with so many other people, Dave Barton, Alan and Helen Thompson, so many. He was voted the best player in the world. Who was around then? Well, Roger Miller was one. Andy Gregory was just getting going. Peter Sterling. These are some of the greatest players of all time. He's voted the best player in the world. That's how good he was. He made 299 appearances for Workington and Whitehaven, 19 for Cumberland, most of which were when he was a captain, and once for England and once for Great Britain. He was sent off a few times as well, but we won't go into that. So we wrote this book together. It was a writer's dream, a very special time in my life. And Arnold, on the field, he was this match-winning, confident, arrogant player. And off the field, he sometimes didn't have a lot of confidence in himself. And yet, he's the most articulate person I've ever interviewed. He had this photographic memory. You could remember, you'd ask him about a certain thing in his life, and he'd remember who was there, what they said, what they were wearing, all the details. And that's the thing what made the book come to life. It was all his work, he didn't have very much to do with me. He thought I was Ernest Hemingway because I could spell. He was the one who was a natural storyteller. So Boxer in later life, when he was a young man, he was a very, very gifted sportsman. He could have been a professional footballer. He was good at cricket, he could do anything. Well, Hazel agreed with me here. He wasn't very good at technology, was he? Facebook, Twitter, phone, could use the phone. When I phoned, you always answered the phone, didn't you? You can just picture you saying, what's this? What do we do here? What do we do? Useless, wasn't it? I said to him, I must send you the chapters for you to check. Oh, he said, you don't need to do that. Don't make it arrogant and give credit to my teammates, which I think we did. So I said to him, I can send you it on email. He looked at me like I was talking in another language. What's email? He said. Didn't know what email was. No tribute to Arnold would be complete without mentioning Louis Shepherd. Many of you older professional players will remember Louis. What a man. So this is a Louis Shepherd story for you. Arnold's 19 years old. He's playing his third or fourth game for Workington Town away at Workington Rovers. We've got this huge pack. Louis, who did not like anyone messing around with his halfbacks, is on the bench. So Louis is on the bench. He's got Epi Gibson on one side, he's got the Smudgeman on the other. Boxer gets tackled. The forward rubs his face in the mud, tries to put the point of his elbow in his eye, gets away, no harm done. Louis didn't like this. It happened right in front of the Workington bench. So Louis walks on the field, you can picture the scene, can't you? There's this guy like this, Arnold's on the floor. This guy said, what's he doing? He walks on the field, gets hold of him by the neck and just hits him in the face twice. Throws him on the floor. There's blood everywhere. He's absolutely unconscious. And the referee said, enough. And that's the only time that's happened in the history of professional rugby league. 3 minutes old game, unused sub, sent off, violent play. My next story, many of you won't believe this, it's absolutely true. Check it out. His courage was absolutely unbelievable. It's 1980. He's playing on the top of his game for Whitehaven. He captains Cumberland to beat New Zealand 9-3. His man of the match scores a winning try. Gets a bit for Great Britain. The following Saturday, he's playing for Whitehaven against Brown. Someone hits him off the ball, happened all the time. He's unconscious, blood everywhere. He's got 2 massive black eyes. His cheekbone swollen and peeled. They bring the ambulance on the field and take him to hospital. He wakes up and the doctors tell him, he's done x-rays. You might not be able to play rugby ever again, and you certainly can't play for at least 6 months. Now, 16 days later, he takes some paracetamol and he plays for Whitehaven against Swinton. 16 days later. His cheekbone was still swollen. But the good news from that was he played for Great Britain a week later to win his only cap for Great Britain, which is obviously framed and in pride of place at Kells. I mean, I just don't know, I cannot imagine how he could do something like that, but it was unique, wasn't it, in everything that he did. It was just such a one-off. I've got to mention something here. I've called it Arnold's Minders. He would say to me all the time, because he could dig a bit, couldn't he, when he was playing? He had to have these big forwards around him, didn't he? He's 5 foot, nothing. And so he wore the number 7 shirt. I've just picked 7 players here that I think he wanted to mention. I haven't got time. I've got 15 minutes apparently, so I'll have to keep my eye on the watch. That I know you would want mentioning. I could tell you stories about all of them. I'm just going to quickly run through them. Peter and Let's Go, Eddie Bowman, Bobby Blackwood, Ralph Calvin, and of course Louis Shepherd. If you're not on this list, then I apologise. I just haven't got time to mention everybody. And there's one more, my favourite of all this list. And we dedicated the book to him, and that's it, Brother in Law Les. I mean, I can tell you so many Les stories. Les loved him. Les is 10 years older, and he was the coach and the captain at Kells. He took Arnold under his wing. He didn't like anyone messing around with the man, did he? He looked after him, didn't he? If you mess around with him, then I get a little black eye off all this, won't you? Anyway, Boxer he loved him like a brother, and of all those people, I think heard it was Les, so God rest his soul, Les. Am I alright, Father? I've got 2 more minutes. More stories. Where were you on round about 5 p.m. Saturday, October the 29th, 1977? All you older people here. If you need a reminder, Wilder School, Workington Town 16. 16, Wigan 13. It was his proudest moment of his career, not his Great Britain cap. It was winning the cup for his county, for his team, for his family. And the thing was, he was man of the match, he kicked 2 drop balls, topped the tackle count. He almost missed the presentation. Why? Because he couldn't get off the shoulders of the fans who loved him. And if you look on YouTube, you'll see that it's still on there now. There's Arnold on here, on the shoulders of dozens of people. And what were they all shouting? Boxer Walker walks on water, the theme tune they had for him. So you should check that out. I've had to leave so many things out. Backhanders. I could talk to you all day about backhanders. £1,000. He said to Tom Mitchell, Tom, I'm struggling. I can't play for Workington. I've got an electric bill, I can't pay it. He said, how much do you need? He said, £1,000 will do. He said, it's all the Kells right up to your house. Then you go on trip. All the there's people who haven't had many on trip. I can't tell you anything about that. What about the American footballer, Ricky, from Oklahoma? Comes in the dressing room, says to Arnold, I can't do an American accent. Where's the helmet, buddy? And Arnold says, there's no helmets, Marra, this is good believe. He got carried off after 2 minutes and Marra never did something again. His battles with Reg Borden, knocked several bells out of each other, and there they are in the bar at the end of the game, having a crack, buying each other drinks. And I think that's the magic of good believe, is the greatest sport in the world, that you try like mad to win, and at the end of the game, shake hands and you have a band together. And again, Arnold was always the first to get the bigger ring. He was such a special person. I spoke briefly to Big Jim Mills earlier this week because I thought to get someone as legendary as him to say something about Arnold gets it in a bit more context, because I'm a nobody. He's a rugby league legend. He was sent off 22 times apparently, 6'4", and 6'4", 18 stone, going on 19. And I asked him about the sending offs, and he said, 17 of them were mistaken identity. So this is what Jim said about Arnold. Boxer was one of the greatest scrum halves of all time. He had a heart as big as a lion, and he was a big character on and off the field. And I loved playing with him. So that's what you call a glowing tribute from an all-time great. He really was one of the greatest scrum halves in the history of the game. There's no doubt about it. I've got one final thing to say, and it's to Hazel. On behalf of everybody, Hazel, you were together 30 odd years, you looked after him, you took care of him. You couldn't change a club, you couldn't do anything, could he? But more importantly, the last year of his life, where you took care of him with so much dignity and love. And for everyone, all his family, I want to thank you for that. And he fought his illness with great courage and dignity, didn't he? So goodbye, Arnold. I loved you.
Well, I couldn't have done without any of my teammates. I wouldn't have got the Great Britain level and things like that. I've had many matches in me days, and I'm a big believer in not having manic matches. As far as I'm concerned, it's a team effort, and I couldn't have done without my teammates. I wouldn't have got as far as I was if it hadn't been for them. Goalies, Eddie Bowman, fantastic with us. It was like a family, because we're all, there was a lot of local lads.
And there goes the hooter. And if you're a Workington fan, well, you'll be enjoying that moment, because Workington win this Lancashire Cup by 16 points to 13. The amazing sort of a match for Workington.